Now, Alex, back to the standard. No, this is not a standard formula. We're still going to go on with this. Best old non-pod game. Do you want to start off since I've been talking a lot?
Yeah, sure. So my two nominations that are not the winner. First of all,
number 3 is, I don't think.
Rocket Knight Adventures is the Konami platform game on the Mega Drive that was one of the games that I did for Sega Mania, and is a fantastic platformer that you absolutely need to play. I think I may have talked about it on one of the old pods anyway, but I will save too much chat about it because people should buy Sega Mania issue 4 and they can read it in there. But it's got a really cool mechanic where you have sort of like a jetpack in it. It's also half of the game is like a shoot 'em up where you're flying about on this jetpack and shooting stuff like you would be in like Gradius or whatever. So it's just so inventive, so underrated from that era because Sonic was just the thing on Mega Drive. But this game holds up perfectly, and yeah, it's a fantastic platform. It's the best game I've played for Sega Mania so far, easily. My other nominee is Slay the Spire, which David is already a convert of and has played it several years ago, I guess, at this point. I've always wanted to get into it, and then it finally went on sale on Switch, even though it's on Game Pass anyway. But playing it on Switch was exactly the way I needed to play this because it is so addictive.
I'd like to see this on a phone, I think, would be my way.
Is it not on phone?
Yeah, I think it is actually. But
I think I tried to get my dad to get it on his iPad.
I think it's quite expensive for a phone game, which I think is why I've never bought it. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, carry on, sorry, and I'll just shout out the price.
Well, how do you describe it? It's like
it's sort of
turn-based dungeon crawler with a card system.
Yeah, it's sort of, to me, it's like what's that run-based game we mentioned earlier on in this?
Darkest Dungeon? No.
Oh. It's like Dead Cells, but but a card game version in which
because you get cards off of every enemy you defeat, don't you? So you can kind of add to your deck as you go along, and
it's £9.
That's not too bad.
No, it's just
a lot, but it's
paying for that for a phone game. Yeah.
No, not when I've got it on Switch. I don't need to do that anymore. I have fallen off this game a little bit because I think I've hit a bit of a wall. I can't really get past I think it's the third boss.
Okay.
So I've got 3 of the characters now. So I've unlocked obviously the standard warrior guy, and then I got the guy with all like the potions and the little like kunai and stuff. The poison guy. I love that. He's my favorite character.
I love how each character makes you play differently. To play the character well, you've got to play differently. Yeah.
The orb guy is a pretty big learning curve. Because you've got to like sort of set up the next orb that he's going to attack with and all that kind of stuff. Just like one of the best kind of card-based games I think I've ever played. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of them, but I find it really difficult to describe this game. But it is just an excellent kind of one more go, one more run kind of game, or pick it up and play and just do a quick run sort of thing.
It follows the classic. I might be wrong about this, but it's the first one that came onto my radar. It was sort of set the scene for the other games that have come since then and done the same thing in maybe slightly different ways, in which you'll get a base deck of cards, and as you progress through the game, you unlock other cards and you sacrifice cards that you've got to get better cards and upgrade the cards you've got, which then allow you to, and it encourages you, and you have to do well, develop a play style, and that is both responding to the cards that you're getting and also keeping in mind the strengths and weaknesses of the character that you're going on your run with. So like this is the game with the poison character, is that right?
I love him because you can do things where like you do more damage to a character, to an enemy that's already poisoned, but you want to be setting up with a move that poisons all 3 of them in one go, and some cards where you can like do a move and it will make a copy of that card, then go into your discard pile, so that next time you're going to get shitloads of them one after another. You can end up doing like 8 attacks instead of your standard 3.
And you can get to the point where you can duplicate cards. So like you've got a card that will maybe do 1 poison damage, which is almost nothing. But if you can get another card in your deck that duplicates cards and lets you reuse cards, you can end up using you can end up doubling the amount of cards you've got of it, and you'll then be able to reuse them again. So you can just stack up really heavy damage. The poison character was my favorite when I played.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I haven't got the 4th one yet because I can't beat the 3rd boss. But I will be going back to this game because it's very, very addictive.
I mix this up with my number 3, which is Monster Train. I think it is.
Yeah, go for it.
Is it an electricity-based one? Because that may be the Monster Train, one of the Monster Train ones.
I don't know who the last character is.
But Monster Train follows a very, very similar idea to Slay the Spire. In that you have a character, you have a deck, you've got to, every time you beat a character, you can upgrade cards and gather money, and you've got, the difference with this one, that again, like, because it's been a couple of years since I played Slay the Spire, on your train, you've got to choose what track. So basically, you're on a route, and when you beat a boss, you might have an option to go on which way to go, whether that's to go and fight more enemies or...
That's the same in Slay the Spire.
Same idea.
Because you can go to the bonfires to rest, or you can go to a treasure
right.
chest and stuff. Yeah.
I might have to buy this game. I'm going to see how much it is on Switch, but I might get it on my phone. Then I'm just going to start.
Should have told you when it was
Slay the Spire chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
But Monster Train follows exactly the same format as Slay the Spire, except you happen to be on a train rather than someone going through a dungeon. And if you like Slay the Spire, you'll like Monster Train, basically.
Perfect. I hope that's on Switch.
My number 2, Gears Tactics. So I got a PC this year. I'd always had my eyes on, because as we've said already, I love Gears games. But I think like strategy games like this only work well if you've got a mouse and keyboard. Yes.
Slay the Spire is on sale for £8 on Switch.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'm going to go and get that after this podcast.
Until, well, I don't know how long, but yeah, don't forget to get that afterwards.
Yeah.
Right, carry on.
Gears Tactics, yeah. I love strategy games, but because I'd never had a PC, and I think these games are only really coming to their own on a mouse and keyboard, I'd always sort of ignored them. So when I got my PC out and this was on Games Pass, I thought this is an excellent opportunity for me to. And the fun thing is.
So you've not played this on the Xbox at all?
No.
But it is on there on Game Pass as well, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing I like about it is that it's a top-down tactics game with... It's essentially plays like an XCOM right? game, yeah, in which you're like a small
team. Those are great.
Yeah, you've got a mission, you've got to get in and get out and complete your mission, and there's a cool variety of missions. Sometimes are time-based, which makes you be super aggressive and push at enemies. Other ones you've got to defend a point, and you've got to try and split your forces up to try and just hold these points and basically survive long enough to be rescued. And then there's other ones where you've got to go searching for things and people within the maps and then either get out or continue to the end. There's one fun one that I particularly like, in which it's almost like a corridor, and you've got to get from one end to the other. And what are those things? I'm now blanking. In the Gears of War games, they're like those massive spiders that fire things out of their backside. Yeah, and like so, they're kind of like that, but basically it's following. Basically, the damage is like sheets of damage, and they're basically attacking this area as you move through the game. So every you've got to get to a point at the end of the level. It's got like the fog of war stuff. You're at one end of a bridge, let's say, and as you're crossing the bridge, basically you can't go back because the area of damage is creeping up. And sometimes you use krill to do the same thing,
right?
And you've basically got to push forward to get to this area. So like both, you've got enemies coming from like basically attack coming from behind that you've got to run from, but also push forward into like waves of enemies, which is really, really good. And it's got boss fights, which for a game like this I never thought would be fun, but actually I did enjoy them. I really rate Gears Tactics, and it's a shame.
Does it have any stuff like XCOM where you got like base building in between missions, or is it straight up just
base building? Trying to think,
because I always found that like the bit I enjoyed the least of XCOM.
I
like
don't
the missions
think
more.
there's any base building. What it does have is it has the same permadeath that XCOM has.
Shit, okay.
And you can upgrade the armor and things and weapons that your characters that you're using have got. And it also gets to the point where they'll either get injured or something will happen, and basically if you put them into a mission, because you've got like your standard medics, your gunners, your grenadiers, your shotgun folk, you've got to try and you'll have your best characters, but you've got to do missions one after the other, and by putting a character into one mission you then can't use it for the next mission,
right?
So you can't just always go in with your best characters. You've got to try and split them up and have split them. Yeah, it's just intelligently done, basically. And it's a shame that it didn't really get the love it got. But I guess Gears is a console game, and this is a PC game, so I can understand why it didn't quite grab on. And we've, unsurprisingly, because we talk about this all the time, got the same winner.
Of course.
Apex Legends lives on, and it's now been my most played game for the last 3 years in the bounce.
I was going to say, like, when we were originally doing this and we didn't split them between, like, 2021 versus old, like, to try and qualify this as a 2021 game, like, do we think that this game is just continually getting better? Is it now in the best state that it's ever been? It has to be.
I think it comes and goes. Well, yeah, I mean, the fact I can't get they've had to take out guns at the moment.
I mean, in terms of, that sort of thing.
We don't like the new map as much as we've liked older maps. I don't particularly like the Battle Pass as much this season.
No, I was already saying to you that I don't. This is probably the worst one I've experienced. But we're getting better at it, which is the problem.
We are.
It's becoming more and more.
My favourite gun's basically not there. Well, it is, but for the amount of times I actually get it.
Yeah, I think I'll vow to you from this point on, if I find a Spitfire in a thing, it's yours.
It's mine. Thanks.
Yeah.
I just love that boy. But yeah, you're right. Like, I'm as engaged with it, if not more. I think more engaged with the game now than I was 2 years ago, because I now understand it in a way that I didn't understand it when I first started playing. I know the game inside out, and it's comfort. I'm comfortable with it in a way. We still have our moments where we have rage, but I still think about this game all the time.
I mean, it has to be one of my favorite games ever at this point. I struggle to think of any online game I've ever enjoyed as much as this, or thought about. I mean, Overwatch probably. I thought about all the time when I wasn't playing it, and I would watch videos all the time, but I never felt as did I? Maybe I did feel better at that game than I do at this one. It's hard to tell.
I had moments. Like, I really very much enjoyed the different roles in which Overwatch allows in a way that this game doesn't really have the same.
Yeah.
In the same way. Like, I really liked being Mercy, so a healer. And it was just unlike anything I'd ever done in a game before. It was being a healer, and I just enjoyed playing differently. Or you get, like, lots of people were good at being tanks. You were a good diva main.
Only at the beginning.
Yeah, I think the variety in play styles I liked in Overwatch. I think it happens to an extent in Apex Legends, but not quite as much if you do duos. You can get absolutely rolled in a game of Apex and have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
A game of Overwatch and you have nothing to do with it, in a way that at least you've got a fighting chance in Apex. I think you can get beaten because you're not good enough, but that's not. You can lose games when you are good enough in Overwatch, and getting rolled, just having that thing, the payload just being relentlessly pushed at you, is morale destroying.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a mercy if you just have your game end when you're dead, and you don't have to continually respawn and go through the same hell, trudging through a match that you're definitely going to lose, but you can't do anything about it. Whereas at least this one, when you're dead, you just go straight back in and start again.
And those moments where everything clicks for us and we play really well and we pull off a maneuver where we just like mercilessly destroy a team is so.
There's very little else like it.
Yeah.
I think we had one yesterday.
Yeah.
That win that we had last night after we'd had a really rough hour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when we were at our lowest, we pulled out a win that felt really satisfying.
And then after that, we started playing well again. This is what I was going on about my bleeding positive thought process, because like it can't. I know there is a bit of a very light skill-based matchmaking going on even in normal modes, but the drasticness in which our ability changed there, I just don't believe it that is what happened. Like because it was like it was like between games we went from just getting rolled, and then we got a bit of confidence in us, and then after that we went flying, and we were coming into fights, and even fights we were losing, we were doing damage, leaving our mark on a team, like someone was getting downed or killed.
I feel like I think that win maybe came from me and you just being like, right, we're going to stop doing challenges and just play the characters we want. Because that's the first time we did that. I think we won straight away.
Yeah.
When we were with Valkyrie and Loba, we just went, right, fuck it. It's just a game that I don't see myself falling off at any time soon, even if the next battle pass is even worse.
I'll still do it and moan about it the whole time, probably.
Yeah. So there's only one winner. There aren't two winners in this category. We
Apex
both
Legends is
love Apex Legends.
Old non-pod game of 2021, with runners-up being Slay the Spire, Rocket Knight Adventures, Gears Tactics, and Monster Train.